Hello everyone and welcome back to Nathan and Deer's Guide to Everything. Today we're going to be doing another beginner's guide 2, and this week we have the Druid, which was next on the list. The next one should be Warlock as well, so stay tuned if you're looking forward to that. But let's jump straight into D&D Beyond as usual, and let's build this Druid. Okay, so you know the drill by now. Back where we normally go, we'll go to Collections, My Characters, and we look to create a character. And this is on my new account, so I don't have anything unlocked, as it were, so this should be exactly as you guys see it. First of all, we need to randomize a name, which is often the most fun part. So let's go for, I don't want to spend too long on it. You know what, I'm going to go back. I quite liked Ahime. There you go, Ahime, nice and easy. We'll go next once we've picked that. And for a race, I was thinking about what race to do for a Druid, and really the most important score for them is Wisdom, followed up by Constitution and Dexterity. So any of those are good, really, but we want to max out Wisdom if we can. A human would be a good choice for this, just because you can invest in everything. But I thought it was quite interesting. I thought I'd go for something a bit out of my comfort zone, something I've never played before, and that's a Genasi. Or Genasi, however we want to say it, doesn't really matter. We'll say Genasi for now, I guess. And I think there's two classes here that could both be good for it. The Air has +2 to Constitution, +1 to Dex. So there's two things that we need, but we really want that Wisdom boost, depending on what our stats are and things like that. So I'm going to go with Water Genasi. And we went with Water because they get Constitution and a +1 to Wisdom, which is why we've gone for that. So we get the two things that we need, basically. We also get Acid Resistance, which isn't a hugely common damage type, so it's probably not going to come up much. We also get Amphibious, so you can breathe air and water. We can swim, we have a swimming speed. Usually, by the way, in case you don't know, for you beginners out there, your walking speed is just on land. If you were to then jump into water or something you're not kind of proficient in, your speed is halved. But in this case, because we're a water Genasi, we have a swim speed of 30 feet. We also know the shape water cantrips that will influence our spell decisions later on, and when we reach 3rd level, we can cast, create, or destroy water as a 2nd level spell once per day. Constitution is our spell casting ability for these. Fantastic. So I chose Water Genasi just for the bonuses for one, so I guess a competent character, and also just could be some nice roleplay opportunities, because I've got an idea of what Druid class I'm going to go down. And so on page 2, we're going to select the Druid. Druids get a D8 for their hit die, so their hit points whenever you level up. Their primary ability is Wisdom, and their saves are in Intelligence and Wisdom. We're not going to use Intelligence for very much, to be honest, but those Wisdom saving throw proficiencies are big, so that's great. As a Druid, we cast spells in a very similar way to having a Cleric. Whenever you long rest, you can select from your entire pool of spells once again, so you're not limited by anything. You just have access to everything all the time, which is fantastic. And I know for my housemate and one of my regular players, he is in love with Druids. He tends to, whenever he doesn't play one, he always tends to miss it quite a lot. So Druids are I think, a fan favourite, and they're really versatile as well. They're spellcasters, but they also have this cool wild shape ability, so they can turn into animals and things like that, and that's why I think people like them. I've never played one myself, so maybe in the future, we'll see. We're going to be at level 1 today, but at 2nd level you do unlock wild shapes. That's just a preview, but we'll add the Druid class regardless. So we're always going to be wanting boosting our Wisdom. That's going to be our highest stat, because that's our spellcasting, so anything that uses that will always be great. Perception is a fantastic one to have. It's the most rolled skill check in the game, so if you can get proficiency in Perception, I would always recommend doing that. Also, Nature makes sense, but it's an intelligence-based skill, which has always seemed strange to me. I feel like it should be Wisdom, I don't know, or maybe just for a Druid it's Wisdom. We're just going to go Insight because it uses Wisdom. I want to be able to read people well, and I feel like as a pirate I'd be able to do that. And that's where my imagination's going now. I want him to be like a pirate or a sailor, maybe. A disgraced sailor, who knows. But anyway, we won't spend any longer here. We'll go to the ability section. And today I thought we'd try something a little bit different. Rather than just going with the standard array of scores, I could show you a different method, which is the rolled method. Now, whenever I roll a character or host this for one of my games when I'm DMing, I allow people to roll stats. I give them 2 chances at it, basically, and I'll just show you what this looks like. So they have 2 sets of ability scores they can choose from. If the total doesn't equal at least 70, then I just say just re-roll the whole lot, because if it's under 70, the character's going to feel, it's not going to feel good. It's no fun to play a really underpowered character, just like playing an overpowered character can kill the game. But I like a varied set of scores, so that's what we're going to do today instead, and I'll just show you what that looks like. So let's just roll the first set, and if we've got the sound on coming from my computer, you're going to hear a lot of dice clacking around right now. We got a 14 from that one, pretty good start. Another 14, we're averaging out. A 13, these are pretty good, really average. 17, which is massive. And with this, by the way, it's you roll 4 dice and drop the lowest. That's how it works, and that's how you get your ability scores. An 11, there you go, bring it in the rear. And an 18, that is a very good set of statistics, I'll be honest with you. Really quite powerful. So if we look at, if I grab a calculator real quick. Okay, so I figured it out. So that total score there is 87 as a total. Now that is way above even a heroic set of statistics. So that's really, really high roll. I guess if you want to play a very powerful character, that will work. But we're just going to try and re-roll another set and just see which kind of spread we prefer. So that's much more even, I would say. That's much more what I'd expect to get from one of these rolls. So what we'll do now is kind of take a look at which one we're going to prefer to play here. So I think it's worth mentioning as well for beginners, the scores aren't everything, and it's often really quite fun to have a low score. It forms your decisions on how you play that character and what they're good and what they're not good at. Having a really glaring flaw can be fantastic and just make the character more endearing to the rest of your party, and you might enjoy playing them more. If they're a little thick, or they're just really not very strong at all, or they just don't know how to talk to people, depending on what stat you put as your lowest, it can make for an interesting character. So don't be put off by low rolls. Just make sure you've got a couple of high ones in there to balance it out, so you're actually useful within the game itself. And I think what we're going to go for, I'm actually going to give myself a nerf, and I'm going to combine these 2 scores because I can, because I'm in control. Why wouldn't I do that? So we're just going to drop the 11 from the first set that we rolled and turn that into an 8 from the second one. So let's go with those. I like those. Obviously always ask your DM if they approve of rolled ability scores before you decide to make your character that way. And just make sure you keep these things up as proof of what you rolled. That's great. So we've got a Hime. Let's add a portrait, why not? The standard water Genasi. Perfect. Now we get to the fun bit where we get to pick a background and kind of flesh out the character a little bit. We'll go with Acolyte, and I think if we're a seafaring merchant or pirate or something like that, I feel like we would be not in service to, but believe in a god, goddess, demigod of the sea, something like that. We wouldn't be completely shut off to that kind of thing. We would have some belief in what's around us. So that gives us proficiency in religion, and we'll also go for, I think, survival we'll go for as well, because I like the idea that obviously in the past we would have endured some hardships, so I think that's worth adding in there. Choose a language if we're on the coast, if we're like a seafaring citizen. I think I'm just imagining it set in the Wildmount or Exandria universe again. As you can see with this book just here. Yeah, Vox Machina Origins. So we'll go with Marquesian, similar to the turtle I made in a previous video. And we'll also go for who would we spend a lot of time with if we're out at sea. Typical sailors would be what? Let's say we've got a halfling friend. I quite like that. We have a halfling companion perhaps with us. Let's do some suggested characteristics, and let's see if we can form a bit of a backstory for this character. So we'll randomly roll them. I have enjoyed fine food and drink and high in society among my temple's elite. Rough living grates on me. So there you go. So we'll do anything to keep our lush lifestyle, I guess, as we are now. Kind of leans more into that pirated side of it, but also we have faith. That's okay, I don't mind that. And number 2, I can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them and always working towards peace. Now, I'm not so sure that I guess it could be a little chaotic to try and befriend our enemies or actually listen to what they have to say before we just try and kill them, basically. Yeah, we'll keep it. I was just reading the others just to see what other kind of options we have, but I think we'll keep it. So kind of using our magics, our high level magics, will always be a last resort perhaps, and we do, because we're a little bit of a criminal background ourselves, maybe we understand when people try and do the same things and try to kind of get on side with them. That's great. Okay, and we'll go to ideals. Number 3, change. We must help bring about the changes the gods are constantly working in the world. Yeah, that's great. That's moving like the ocean. We're always, I guess, as it is, the ocean is quite chaotic, and that kind of role plays into our character here as well. Especially with this, we believe in one specific god, but we're believing in the pantheon as a whole, and we're always working to bring about change. Like I said, you know, water is always changing where rivers flow and things like that, and that's what we can find solace in, I think, as a water Genasi. Cool. And bonds. I would die to recover an ancient relic of my faith that was lost long ago. So now we're just moving into more territory of leaning into this religious aspect. Who is this being that we serve or choose to serve or forced to serve? Is it just the ocean itself, or is it like the wild mother Melora, who is all things kind of weather and land and nature? Could be either or. But we're always looking for an ancient relic. That's why we're pirate treasure hunter. We resort to anything. Quite like that. That's good. It's coming together. And finally, a flaw. So we'll add that. Number 6. Once I pick a goal, I become obsessed with it to the detriment of everything else in my life. Yep, that fits perfectly. We learn about an artifact. We'll do anything to get it in service to a deity of nature. Fantastic. So that's come together nicely, actually, and that's why backgrounds are great. And when you randomly roll it, it can give you a little bit of an idea of what you want to do with the character, where you want to take them, roleplay wise, backstory wise. Always worth doing. We could come up with the name of a ship, perhaps, that we serve on. Let's do that. Let's go add it in backstory. And now I'm going to need to think of one. Probably going to use a name generator in 3, 2, unless I can think of one. I just thought of that. There you go. No cuts, I promise. There you go. The Zephyr. Sounds good? Yeah, I'll take it. Sounds like a good ship name. So we serve aboard the Zephyr. And equipment, finally, for a druid. I feel like we're definitely going to want a shield. I haven't thought about what they look like artwork wise and what they're wielding or anything. We'll go with a scimitar. I'm happy with that. That's fine, because that uses dexterity as well, which isn't too bad of a stat for us right now. So with a druidic focus, we can kind of flavour this however we want, really. Actually, I just googled what a totem druidic focus might be, and it is like a little figurine or something like that from a past culture. I think maybe from wherever we were born, our village, maybe it was under the water or wherever it might be, this elemental plane of water. We could have a cool tribal looking totem of some kind. That could be our focus. I don't mind that. Or maybe a depiction of our deity, perhaps. That could be cool. So we'll stick with totem. A holy symbol. When I entered a priesthood, I don't think we're really a priest as such, but maybe we were given an emblem to mark our entrance into this, onto the Zephyr, as we're a fully fledged member, on a member of the crew on the Zephyr. And I mean, a prayer book or a prayer wheel, I don't really think either of these sound necessary, but we'll go with the prayer book. Why not? I'll just turn it into a notebook. It's destroyed by the ocean air and sea itself. Let's view the character sheet and let's have a look. Would you look at those statistics? So like I said, we did roll really, really well. So we have 19 wisdom out the gate due to the +1 from being a water Genasi, and we have a +2 to the constitution, so our 14 became a 16. So really, really well rounded. Our intelligence is bad. Our saving throws will forever be bad because it's only an 8. So we're definitely not book read. We're just wise to the world and the open ocean and things like that. So now we do have to pick some spells as a druid. This is our bread and butter. So let's do that now. Cantrips, we already know shape water because we're a water Genasi. I think what would be good to have. I think mending, working on a boat, a lot of things would break all the time. I imagine we'd probably need that. And I quite like the idea. Frostbite, what does that do? Create a numbing frost, yeah. We'll draw from the cold ocean air and make a frostbite around a creature just so we've got something damaging there. And first level. And to be fair, druids they have access to some absolutely crazy damaging spells. But again, they're quite utility focused. They have access to a lot of healing also. So if your party doesn't have a cleric as a druid, you may want to look at moving into more healing spells, because that's your party's going to need it. But yeah, with it as a druid, you have a lot of utility, is what I'm trying to say. So you've got a lot of options. It's good. But we get 5 first level spells. We get Create and Destroy Water when we level up a bit. So let's go with Cure Wounds, keep people healthy on our crew. I think that's a good idea. I'm actually starting to think now maybe they are a little bit more of a healer, kind of on board the ship, and that's why they were useful. So I'm actually going to go with Detect Poison and Disease. Obviously, I guess in real life, a lot of sailors and things, they catch diseases and all kinds of things and get ill from being out on the ocean for so long, and I imagine in this fantasy world it would be the same thing. So we'll go with Detect Poison and Disease. Fairy Fire, because it's an incredible spell. We do need something aggressive. I like the idea of condensing moisture in the air into energy and casting a thunder wave, so we're going to go with that. And we can change these, so it's not too big of a deal to make it wrong. I'm going to go with Jump, because that's not one you see very often. And there's our spell list. Fantastic. We'll equip our equipment and see if that changes anything about our armor class and things like that. Yep, so it did help a little bit. A shield and just leather armor put our AC all the way up to 16, which is fantastic. Thanks to our high dex. That's quite a high AC for a druid at level 1, to be honest. But that's fantastic. Yep, so that is it. I think I've shown you around enough character sheets to know where you are now. Action, spells, equipment, features and traits. Breaks down all your druid feats and racial traits and things like that. All your equipment is where all your equipment lives. Your spells, which we have plenty of as a druid, and that's going to be what you're mainly doing, is slinging spells. And actions, you can see we do have a scimitar should we need it up close and personal. Yeah, but that is Ehime, the Water Genasi Druid, level 1, and so in the next video we will probably be looking to level Ehime up a bit, and we'll see what craziness comes our way. But thanks for watching, everybody. Leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it, what class you want me to do next. I think Warlock may be up on the list next, but after that I think it's free reign, so leave a comment with what you want to see. I look forward to leveling Ehime up. This has been Nather and Deer's Guide to Everything. Have a great day, guys. Goodbye.